Hi everyone, Teri Wellbrock here of the Healing Place podcast, and super pumped about today's episode on episode 2 of the special series Healers of Hilton Head. This one was recorded actually in September, but I bumped it up because this retreat is happening in the next few days, this weekend. On Hilton Head Island. So if you're tuning into this today when I release it, and you live on Hilton Head Island, please know that you can access this retreat still. But I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that yes, I will probably in the upcoming episodes I will be talking about things that haven't happened yet. This one, I'm talking about things that happened. So that's just because I bumped this one up so that I could get it out in the series early, since we're on a time crunch on it. So anyway, fabulous conversation. Oh my gosh, just again super excited to have Dr. Alli Barnes, founder and CEO of Rebuilt, talking with us today. So here you go. Welcome everybody to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock, and just doing really big happy dance because I have Alli Barnes, PhD here. She is the founder and CEO of Rebuilt, and we found each other because I was on Facebook and happened to see something come up. I don't know if it was an ad or just a post or somebody shared of a retreat that she'll be doing in October on Hilton Head Island. And I'm doing this series, The Healers of Hilton Head. And so I was like, oh yeah, for sure. I'm going to have to reach out and see if maybe we can connect. And we have. So welcome, Dr. Alli.
Well, thank you very much, Teri, for having me. I'm so excited and so excited to learn that this is something that is born out of Hilton Head, because one of my favorite places. And as much as I obviously, like you, love, giving people wings and teaching new strengths and health practices, I also love going to Hilton Head and placing these in most amazing places. So this great vacation we get out of going to the next retreat is something I'm very much looking forward to.
Oh yeah. I had recently, it's so funny because I had reached out when I started the series. I had said to a couple of the healers that I've interviewed, gosh, I wish there were really a retreat on this island, because there just isn't. And you would think it would be a really great place to hold retreats. And then boom, if you didn't pop up in front of my face, and I was like, well, there we go. This is fantastic. So
Yeah.
One, I applaud you. I just think it's so needed, and just what a great idea.
Well, thanks for throwing the energy out there and attracting us to Hilton Head for a retreat.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yes, exactly. That quantum field and putting that out there in the world. Yeah.
Life does give you what you need when you need it.
Yes, exactly. So talk to us a little bit about Rebuilt and what it is you do there.
Yeah, for sure. So we are up a little bit south of Boston in Milton, Massachusetts, and I worked in the hospital systems forever. Medicine, I call myself the super science nerd. So I've always wanted to be, attached to outcomes and medicine and preventative medicine, preventative care. And I worked in the hospitals for a really long time. And midlife after children, and had a really, really tough go, Teri, you know the story of my first birth of a child, and I decided to go back and get a master's and a PhD in alternative medicine and functional nutrition, which was the coolest thing I think I've ever done in life, just to learn kind of what I call the secrets of the universe. And people laugh at me, but it really is just an amazing way to understand health and balance and resiliency and the immune system from a really, long-term functional standpoint versus how we treat in medicine. If you have something going on with the brain, you go to your neurologist. If you have something going on with your kidney, your nephrologist. So it's a very different way, the holistic training and holistic, I guess, medicine. And we've done this for years and years and years. So it was very cool to me to see it all come together and go back and gain this information. And this information, changed my life, changes other lives. But from there, I thought, it's so interesting. There's no organic juice bar in my area. Not from a business standpoint. Now I know why. I thought, why do people want to put 2.5 pounds of pesticide sprayed vegetables in a juice, right? That's a lot of toxic content in one juice. So I forged my way while working in the hospitals, while raising a baby, and opened a juice bar. And then I started a health practice out of that for functional medicine. And lo and behold, all the lessons of small business. There's no such thing as wholesale organic produce, right? What you're shopping at Whole Foods is basically what I'm paying as well. And then I'm going to put 2.5 pounds of it in one juice. And most people are pretty upset about the price of that juice, which barely creates a margin, right? So now I understand why juice bars don't do organic from a business standpoint. But after I learned everything, from years of kind of functional medicine and how the body really works from a holistic standpoint, it was against all my morals. So did this organic juice bar, definitely was a passion, labor of love. But I worked in the hospital, so I was able to do the balance. And then turned 40 something years old. And it was actually a pretty definitive time. One of my best friends was like, let's go to a yoga class for your 40th morning. And so we went to yoga, and I will tell you, type A personality extraordinaire, sat there, and during Shavasana, I thought, wow, if I really only have 1 to 2 hours to work out this week, I probably should have lifted some weights, right? Versus doing yoga. And this is what my type A personality thought. And then I thought, gosh, I really wish people combined weights and yoga. And then I thought, wow, the data is so poor on cardio workouts. Like, people get on their Peloton 7 days a week and go running 7 days a week. For women, especially over age 35, when it comes to balancing our hormones, building bone density, maintaining muscle mass and reducing excess adipose tissue. So I was like, gosh, somebody needs to really do this. And then I was like, well, I think I'm going to do this because I would love to live that life as well. So we put together a, health and wellness facility. And what it is, which is really cool, is the latest data, again, from Super Science Nerd data, in the last 5 years of what is the most functional way to have longevity in life. And, it's for women, we're not used to it, but it really is getting enough healthy protein in your body, whether it's from vegan sources or not, and fueling your body very clean, as well as lifting heavy for you weights in a functional manner, right? That we can heal later from. So we have a very recovery-based fitness. So 1 hour workout for those people that are busy in life on the dot. You'll do 30 minutes of strength training with a personal trainer. So it's all very small group training. Then you'll do 20 minutes of yoga. I call it forced stretching. Teri, have you ever gone to the gym and you're like, sure, I'll stretch. You touch your toes and then you go home.
Right. I hate stretching.
I hate stretching. But then you do it and you're like, God, I feel good, right? So it's forced mobility, AKA yoga, for 20 minutes. And then we have 10 minutes in the biohacking room. And Teri and I were talking earlier of all the fun. I often tell people when they're coming into the gym for their first training session, I say, I won't overwhelm you with what's in the reverse room. We call it our anti-aging room or our biohacking room. But the reverse room has vibration plates, not regular vibration plates, because there's a really lot of poor data on the really strong vibration plates currently, but they're micro vibration plates, rebounders, red light therapy, and heart rate variable breathing. So these things are really, NASA invented some, medicine invented the other, and they're truly the most passive ways to get your body to recover and back into balance in a pretty short time. So I joke that that room allows you to go back out to your family or your coworkers and be a really good person. So builds the bandwidth back up very quickly. So when you leave, even if you pushed yourself, to do great things in the weight room, you really have such a good balance and you have built that bandwidth back up to be able to handle the rest of the day properly. So that's what Rebuilt's all about. It's R3BILT, and the 3 rooms are the Rebuilds, which is the weight training room, Recover, Mobility, and then Reverse, which is our, again, biohacking room. So lots of information there, but I hope that explains it well for you.
Yes. Well, and I love the R3 built, because now I get it. Like with the, yeah, what is it? Rebuild, recover, reverse. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, because the first time I saw it, I was like, how do I say this? R3
Right.
built? R3. Like I was trying to put the 3 in.
I love it. So, and all the business lessons, like every small business I open, I'm like, ooh, there's a business lesson. I still have the Milton Times will be like, oh, R3 built. I'm like, rebuilt. And then if they write rebuilt, it's RE. I'm like, oh, so close, Al. Next time, better with the name.
No, I love it. I mean, it's cute, it's clever. I think it's awesome. Now that I get the three R's. So yeah.
And our logo, I think our logo is pretty cool. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people say, you guys brand so well. And it was just a shot in the dark that I had a great friend that was a branding person at the time. But yeah, so I think the R3 really pulled the logo together.
Yes, for sure. That's wonderful. Now on this retreat that you'll be doing October 21st through the 24th on Hilton Head Island, is you'll be doing these same activities with folks? What's the goal of this retreat?
Great question. So we do multiple retreats a year, and one's really fun, Teri, actually kind of plays into what we were speaking of earlier, is I do physician retreats. So I was saying when I went to the beginning of med school, there was not one nutrition class in my 8-year syllabus, right? So we do physician burnout retreats, and we teach health and wellness techniques so that they can A, learn it for themselves, but B, help bring it back to their patients, right? So hopefully we can round out, traditional medicine, allopathic medicine, and functional or holistic medicine, so we can find kind of that happy medium. But that's one of our avenues. And then another is I team up with my favorite by far meditation teacher that I've ever met, Andy, and we do a very much get back to balance, let it go, and truly just build your resiliency, build your bandwidth, build how good of a human you can react to other humans as you possibly can, and just really recognizing the space within yourself to create peace and to create balance, and just hear yourself, really. So a lot of people after the pandemic, and again, I keep saying it as well, but we feel a lot more stuck than we've ever felt. I have a couple of my patients that came in, and when I, start up the conversation, I say, if you could give me your top 3 things in your health you could change, if I had a magic wand, what would they be? Because I always want to know what their top pain points are before I dive into their functional wellness. And I've had multiple say, I just don't laugh as much as I used to. I just don't smile as much as I used to. And, from a mental standpoint, we're at the all-time highest rates of depression and anxiety than we've ever been in the United States. And it's not just all-time highest, it's like 3 times higher than history. And I remind people, and this really is what this retreat in Hilton Head is about, is we have an average of 80,000 thoughts a day that run through this big, beautiful brain of ours. But of that 80,000 thoughts, and that sounds crazy, right? Of that 80,000 thoughts, the majority of those, so over 92% in science, are thoughts we thought yesterday, the day before, and so on. So that means you're pretty hardwired in your thought, right? We can change this, we can resynapse, we can really change patterns in our brain, in our personality anytime. We used to think we were so baked, but we're very neuroplastic. So in layman's terms, what this means is if we have negative thoughts for the majority of those thoughts that are going to keep going no matter what, it's almost like our computer program is broken, right? We have a virus in our system, and whatever our brain tells our body believes. So I worked for a pharmaceutical company at one point, and we did everything in our testing to negate placebo. How do we make sure that wasn't placebo? How do we make sure this was the drug, right? And this is also what got me on the away from traditional medicine into holistic, is seeing all this. But that being said, I now exemplify placebo. Everything I do that I know your mind can tell your body, and we can do like that because you truly achieve what you believe, that is where we grow. So we use that placebo, we use your mind to heal, to create immunity, bandwidth, to put us back into balance. And you can't do it with the craziness of the outside world always happening. We live in the United States. We always have to have the best car and the best house and the best lawn and look so pretty all the time. So we go, go, go like no other nation. So this retreat in particular, with the Boston Buddha, which is Andy Kelly, is him and I teaming up. He is one of the most amazing meditation teachers. He's got a slew of, basically alternative medicine or tools, we'll call it, to help people find space, create their peace, and get back into balance. And then I come in from my set of, I'm very much focused on mindset, but I also am a yoga teacher. I'm an exercise physiologist. I'm a nutritionist. So we get to eat super clean and learn. We'll do cooking classes for dinner. So we create and then we eat, and we know why, right? How we fuel our body properly versus count calories or low fat, no fat that we grew up in, which is completely, irrational for putting our body in the best space. And we're kind of just combining everything so that there is a space for you to learn, create, breathe, undo, as well as take things back home to make the smallest changes that create the biggest bandwidth or the biggest strengths in your body. So overall, relax, restore, nourish, strengthen. That is the goal of this. And I joke every time I do a retreat with Andy, I come back as a way better person because I have my quote unquote forced meditation so many times a day that I normally quote unquote tell myself I'm too busy for, right? And we can get in our own way like that, even when you have degrees in it. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to be in your neck of the woods.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it. Like I'm gonna just want to stop by and like be a little peer through the window and watch all this go down.
Please stop by. Please join in.
Yes. Oh, for sure. I just can't. Well, one, I need to meet you in person, give you a big hug, but
agreed.
Yeah, I love that you brought up resilience and brain plasticity. I talk about it so often on this show, with my trauma history. And I thought I was broken, like quote unquote, yes, broken forever until I came across neuroplasticity and those science. And I became I'm a science and research and trauma geek as well, because I started researching how I can change my brain, how to rewire those those pathways.
Synapses, yeah.
Yeah. And wow, I mean, the work that I've done in these, 9 years since I stepped onto the healing path. And I just want to tell a really quick story about it and just steer away from this for 1 second is, it's been a crazy couple weeks with, I'm still on this mycotoxin poisoning detox path, but doing great. Like my labs are all back to normal with the help of a wonderful nutritionist like Dr. Alli and the wonderful functional nutritionists of the world. And then I had my mom fall and break her hip. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get to Cincinnati, but I'm terrified to get on a plane by myself. And and then I had a kidney stone attack. And so then there was like this emergency surgery and it was such a whirlwind. And suddenly I was faced with, I have got to get on this flight. I have to do this. I have to do it. And I put everything that I had learned into place along this journey and stepped onto that flight and had no anxiety, no panic, all the rewiring work I had done, everything. It was so beautifully aligned. Like I can't, I'm going to do a whole show on it just on this alone. And then
Teri, when is the last time you were on a plane before that?
Alone? 15 years old.
Oh
before the bank robberies, before the panic attacks. I mean, so this was
proud of you.
Huge. Thank you. This is why I'm going to finish this book like in the next few weeks, because it was this moment, like I call it a God kick in the ass. It was just that thing, like, you have to go do this. There is no choice. You have to do this. And I kept telling myself, this isn't for me, it's for them, meaning my mom, and go see my son. And And I just, again, I knew in that moment that rewiring, that neuroplasticity, that yes, we can change that habitual thinking. Yes, we can change those habitual patterns.
Yeah.
So amen and hallelujah is what I'm saying to that.
Absolutely. And that is such an amazing point, because so many people, right, have, from, past trauma in life, from childhood, whatever we want to call it, even if you want to just call it simple, which doesn't sound simple, and I'm not negating it, to the last 2 years of watching the news, right? Watching the news
Yeah.
is like, go back to your cave woman self back in the day. There's that super strong woman who could run and jump and do these things. It's like that cave woman self always being chased by the lion,
Yes.
right? When your adrenaline and your cortisol are high, that is wonderful for those super short times when you need to sprint away from a lion and climb a tree you could never climb before. Like, you hear about the grandmother that lifts the car off the grandchild, right? We could pay that grandmother billions of dollars and she could never lift that car again. So the body does a beautiful thing of keeping you alive, even if it hurts itself to do that, right? However, living with that fight or flight, living with that continued trauma,
Yeah.
watching that news every day over the last years of COVID is truly telling your body we're under attack. And that will burn anybody out, right? And that will exhaust anybody, and that will rewire anybody into fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
So I love your story of your, I can't even wrap my full brain and heart around your full life of instances, traumas, everything that's happened to you, and look at you with your gigantic, beautiful smile, helping so many other people and telling that story. That is the coolest thing ever. It is like hope in a perfect little package. So, Teri, you're great.
You got me a little teary-eyed. Thank you.
I love it, but it's
beautiful.
Just, it really is reality when you think, oh God, my life is hard, and then you look over at somebody else sometimes, and you're like, what am I complaining about? So, Evan, you're awesome. I love the story. I love the hope, and I love just the lesson that we are so neuroplastic. It doesn't matter right now what you're going through or what you went through. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Yes, it matters. But for your happiness and health moving forward, you can change that.
Yes. What a great way to phrase it. Yes. Is that for your joy, for your happiness. And I do have to add that when I was in Cincinnati, I just told my therapist this morning. So I still do EMDR therapy. I like to just make sure, especially in this process, that I'm still detoxing. I just want to make sure my mental health is okay. And while I was in Cincinnati, I told her, I said, it was pure joy. Every time I turned a corner at a grocery store, I run to the store to help my mom and get her something. And I would run in and be like, oh my gosh, Sandy, hi. Oh my gosh, Michelle, hi. Like, I went to the zoo with my childhood best friends, and I was so excited to see Fiona the hippo, which, Cincinnati Zoo, that's a big thing. I was like a giddy 4-year-old clapping. Like, people around me were like, oh my gosh, look at this lady. Because I was just like, oh my gosh, she's
right. You found joy again.
Yeah. Oh, it was wonderful. And so I think what you just said about just, yes, no matter what you're going through in the midst of it, even in the midst of a storm, you can still allow and welcome and gift yourself that laughter and that joy that we all need.
Yeah. Dancing in the rain sometimes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So how do folks sign up and find this, the retreat and or you to connect?
And see Teri and I happy dancing together.
Yeah.
So we will be in Hilton Head October 21st, 24th. And I know you guys have a lot of local listeners too. So you don't have to stay at the house. We do have the option to just come from morning to night and do the meditation, cooking, our everything that we're going to do, our yoga, our movement, everything that's entailed in the fun without staying over. So I hope to see you there. And we have that option as well. But you will call us if you want to take that option, the one option to sign up and stay. You can just find on our website, which is R3, the number, BILT.com. So R3built, enlightening.com. And you can just click on the retreat tab or on our Instagram, which is at R3BILT, or our Facebook, all the same. Those are in our link tree and our bio. And so you can sign up just with a click, or you can call us for more information. There is a QR code on the brochure that can give all the information as well as the pricing and what the accommodations are. But yes, if you could not pay for a flight and get to that retreat, that is a win-win as well, right?
Right.
Everyone from the north is all excited to get out of Dodge when it comes to the end of October, but you guys are in the perfect spot.
Well, and I'm telling you, we've lived here. We're now in our 3rd year, and we tell everyone we talk to, when they say, we want to come down and see you guys, when should we come? And we tell them October, the most beautiful month on this island. Like, it could not be more perfect. You're past tourist season, but the weather, it's just spectacular. It's beautiful. So I'm excited that you're doing it in October, and you only have a few spots in the house left, right?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
So we have 5 spots left in the house. It is coming up in a month and a half. I can't believe how quickly, now that summer is somewhat ended, I'm not going to say it's totally over. I'm not ready for like chai, pumpkin spice, anything just yet. I do have a good homemade recipe for that too, when we are ready. But I will say that came up so quickly, because summer is, our heyday out here. So, as we are rolling into our fall months and increasing our vitamin D up here, you guys are still getting it. Do you know you can go on the Navy calendar and it can tell you per your longitude and latitude how much vitamin D you get from the sun?
Oh, no.
So, oh yeah, for us, Tara, where we live in Boston, have from October 18th to May 18th, where we get very little, if any, vitamin D from the sun. So we are rolling up right at the retreat. Right when Massachusetts quits on me, I am down getting some more vitamin D, because you guys are a lot lower than us. So we'll still be able to get it there. But that is something, if I can urge everybody as my one tip, even if you don't live anywhere near and you're not coming to the retreat, get your vitamin D tested every year you get blood work, and especially in the winter. It is a hormone. It controls 500 processes in your body. And, anyone who's been deficient really, really knows the difference of when you have there you go, Teri, when you have a decent working hormonal system in your body versus not. So I'm excited to chase the sun and come down.
Yeah. And it's not, I had recently found out too, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's not just you laying out in your bikini, soak it up, burning your skin. It's even just like, having it hit your face, having it, hit your arms, just walking around and having just exposure, right? And being outside in it.
Yeah. And I always tell people, everybody can take a different amount of sun before it starts to create a little bit of damage. We're not looking for the damage, right? We're looking, women, if you go to your, esthetologist, your dermatologist, whatever they may say, they'll say, you put sunblock on before you even walk out the door. Well, our disease rates are going through the roof as our vitamin D rates are going down, right? Vitamin D controls a lot of your immune system. And without the proper vitamin D, AKA you can't put sunblock on every part of your body before walking out, because you'll never get vitamin D. So I always tell people, if 15 minutes is a good exposure time for you before you put it on. I'll never put it on my children until they're at the beach, right? People load up their kids right in the beginning. This is a great story for vitamin D, even from a functional nutritionist. So we eat very well and a lot of really good ingredients in the house. And my kids, that's just what they know, right? My daughter's so excited. My poor mom's garden is like kale-less, because she'll go in and just eat all the kale out of it. So this is normal to them, but I will say my oldest daughter, she's going to hate when she hears this, turned 13. And there was a couple instances I thought, oh, wow, she's becoming a teenager and she's such a joy. People used to tell me I was a great mom, and I used to say, no, I've just never been challenged, right? I had such easy children. I unfortunately, not even quote unquote, I unfortunately died giving birth to my first. So I always said, God must have been like, let me make sure they're so easy for me for here on out. So lo and behold, she turns, 13. I'm like, oh, wow. I don't want to say, oh, wow, she's being a teenager, because there's no excuse, right? We got to learn to be a good human regardless. And I was like, wow, I remember last winter, she was kind of getting teenagerish too. And then I was like, oh, mind you, I'm a functional nutritionist and have a doctorate in this. I was like, wow, I should probably run her vitamin D. So I run my 13-year-old's vitamin D. She's deficient in the winter last year. I was like, so my poor daughter, I was like, oh, wow, she's getting tough. No, she was sad and slightly depressed because her vitamin D was low. So if you find yourself feeling like, gosh, I just don't like winter as much as summer, or seasonal change disorder, or just a little grumpier, vitamin D is something to check out. And, personal, you've got a personal story. I've got my daughter's story, but it's definitely a go-to for your easiest thing you can change when it comes to healing right in the very beginning before you start putting everything back into balance.
Yes. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly, and I love it because I'm so looking forward to the day when it's like Star Trek, where we can just like do a little scan on our body and then just see the little thing where it's like, okay, our A's, we're a little low on C, so eat an orange, and yeah. So
that would be amazing. So do you know there's such thing? I was actually going to mention this to you when you said about your kidney incident. So there's something called an organic acids test, and that's a functional lab I'll run.
The oat test.
Oats
yeah,
test.
I did it. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Did you look at your oxalates, Teri?
I did. My oxalates were crazy, 1250. They were off the charts. And so I was working with my nutritionist to try to get my oxalates under control and and make sure, because I think I was eating some high oxalate foods. Yeah.
So when you had said kidney, I was going to say, watch your oxalates. So spinach, for example, right? One little leaf of spinach has like 800 oxalates in it, where one whole leaf of kale doesn't even have a quarter of that. Right. A huge leaf. So it's interesting because I'll ask my patients one question during intake that sometimes will shock them. I'll say, do you ever feel like the healthier you eat, the worse you feel? And if anyone ever says yes to that, they have high oxalates, right? That's because they start putting spinach and everything, because spinach is delicious and you can put it in your smoothies and your eggs and everything, and you don't even know what's in there, right? And then they took milk away, and now they're having almond milk, and almond milk is also a really high oxalate. And so from there, I think one of the things you do is really be aware of how different foods, there's not one food that's good for every human and every body. So that organic acids test is a really good way to understand, where you're upregulated, where you're downregulated, what nutrients you may need more of and what you need less of. It's one of my favorite tests. So I do joke that I wish everybody at 21 years old could get an oats test covered by insurance, because I think we'd have very little illness and disease going forward if we did.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I wish it was covered by insurance too, but it's worth I say it was worth the investment. I don't know. It was a couple $100 out of pocket.
So worth the investment.
Then it's so worth it, because then I was able to see, I did it because of the mycotoxin poisoning, to see, it was one of many labs that we ran, just to see what was happening in my body and what was going on, so that I could make some adjustments. I was having horrific histamine issues. My mast cells went crazy. Truly, as a result of the exposure to the mycotoxins. And so, and again,
as they should, right? They were working properly. They said, "Oh my God, there's mold in here."
Yes,
I say
exactly.
That all the time. Right? It's your body's natural response to keep you alive, but AKA we think it sabotages us doing that, right?
Right.
So it's so funny how we, perception's reality a lot of the time, but thank God your body says, what is going on here, Teri? Something's got to change. Or we turn on and off genes like a sheet of music every day, right? We'd be turning on some maybe tough autoimmune cells or genes or cancer or other things that we generally wouldn't turn on otherwise.
That's so funny, because I developed autoimmune psoriasis and a crazy rash all over my body. Well, I started to shift and do some self-care work with it. I literally, my lower legs were the worst, would hug my lower leg and just rub it and talk to it and say, thank you so much for trying to protect me. I know you're trying to get these toxins out of me. I understand. I love you so much for trying to help me get better. And I'm going to help you too. And we just worked together, and all of a sudden my skin started clearing up, and it was changing from red to white patches instead. And so I just think we have so much more power in healing it ourselves. And I thank you for your beautiful work and directing people on how to do that. Yeah.
Oh, I thank you for all of your resiliency and strength to go through what you've been through, and then use it as a tool to help others. Those are the coolest humans ever existed. Thanks for existing, Teri.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to give you now an extra, extra big hug when they see you. So again, one last time, how do folks get in touch with you?
So rebuilt.com, R3BIT.com, or our phone number is 857-267-2107. And call, write, shoot me a message. Let me know how we can help. But we'd love to see you guys in Hilton Head in October. I told Andy all about you, so he's excited to meet you too.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And then last thing, is there anything else that you wanted to address before we close out?
I feel as though we were just meant to talk about the retreat, and I went on a couple tangents. So I appreciate you sticking with me through it. And I joked you and I could probably talk for 21 hours straight and still trade new good stories, right? We've both been through some stuff to get us where we are. And, the whole name of the game now for me is I don't want people to have to hit that huge health wall that you and I had to hit in order to know what's available and what's out there. So really, preventative medicine in the United States, we spend $1 trillion in healthcare each year, right? We don't even spend 0.5% to prevent disease. So it's always once we get sick, we spend that money. So advocate for yourself, even if it costs money to get a massage, go to a good gym, go to an infrared sauna. That's preventative medicine, right? It's well spent now versus shoveling against the tide later. So do the things, people. There's so many great things, easy, great things you can do for your health that will really just help keep you around for your kids and grandkids and keep a smile on that face versus, quality of life dropping off. Because you can live a really long time with a good quality of life, or you can live a really long time while dying. And that's what we had done for so long in, the United States. Our lifespan for the first time ever is shorter than the generations before us. So I implore you to make some, even if it's one healthy change today. So even if it's getting up tomorrow morning and drinking a glass of clean water before your coffee, for the rest of your life, you'll have some huge benefits.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you again for being a part of the series, for the beautiful, beautiful work you do, and you're just inspirational. So thank you.
Thank you, Teri, for having me on. It was so, so great to see you, and I hope to see you in October.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Again, I'll be like, hi, guys.
Can't wait to officially meet you then.
Everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock again. Just wanted to thank you for listening to the episode today and remind you to visit my website as well as the academy.teriwellbrock.com for the courses. But if you go to my website, teriwellbrock.com, you can sign up for my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, which is also jam-packed with information and strategies and blog pieces and guest blog pieces and links to shows. And just a great space for, again, healing. Thanks for, again, being here and being a part of this healing space. I very much appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye.